I think today we have a high-performing education system built on strong fundamentals. This is reflected in the video that you saw earlier. We have made deliberate and sustained efforts to innovate. Our system is well regarded by many leading educators all over the world. Textbooks based on a curriculum are now used in 39 countries and translated into 7 languages. More importantly, we equip our students with strong foundations for lifelong learning. We provide them with multiple pathways to develop their potential. We are a system of high peaks and high averages. We support all our students, the exceptionally talented as well as the average, the scholastically inclined as well as those with other talents. It is a testament to the quality of our system that people from around the world come to Singapore to hear about how we nurture all our students. We have made great strides, but we cannot take our Singapore story for granted. We must continue to be reflective and forward-looking. But we must also be prepared to be bold, to sow the seeds of future successes. In the past year or so, we focused on 3 key areas. We tackled the issues at the 2 bookends of our system, university places and preschools. And we will be making significant changes in both areas. The third area relates to our WPS theme last year, a student-centric, values-driven education with every school a good school. I'm very heartened by the overwhelming support from parents, school leaders, and teachers. For this WPS, I'll speak on the values and ideals that will guide our efforts. I'll focus on 4 key attributes of a student-centric, values-driven education. First and foremost, every student an engaged learner, regardless of background or ability. To support this, we will need every school a good school, every teacher a caring educator, and every parent a supportive partner. Every student an engaged learner is based on our core belief that every child can learn, not just in school, but for the rest of his life. As educators, we want to nurture engaged learners who are motivated, enjoy learning, and go on to fulfill their potential. There are 3 key areas that we will work on to continue to make every student an engaged learner. Ignite the joy of learning, provide learning support where necessary, and design multiple pathways to suit different learning styles. First, ignite the love of learning. As the French philosopher Simone Weil said, the joy of learning is as indispensable in study as breathing is to running. It is easy to speak of the joy of learning. In practice, learning can be hard because it requires effort. Like a baby learning to walk, he must stumble, pick himself up, and try again and again. Adults need to provide support, but not so much that we stop the baby from trying. The joy comes from trying, from a sense, I can do it. From having a sense of mastery, from having an almost eureka moment, I have done it. It is a joy that comes from overcoming challenges after trying once, twice, 3 times, or whatever it takes. Small successes can build on one another, then enhance a child's sense of curiosity and sense of wonder. I firmly believe that this sense of wonder, this perseverance, this sense of mastery, that will make each of us a lifelong learner. We must therefore help every child build confidence as he progresses through more and more difficult tasks. Because each child progresses at a different rate, we must have multiple pathways for them to make progress. At every stage, we must have the right amount of challenge relative to the ability of the child, not so much as to overwhelm and not so little as to bore. Getting this balance right is very difficult. Adults need to be affirming, but affirm the right things. many psychological studies have shown, if we affirm by praising the child for being smart, the child stops trying as he fears that failure will make him look stupid. But if we affirm his effort, the child will go on to try harder tasks. But notice how often as adults we speak of smart kids, not spunky kids. We must also know when not to interfere. For if we hand-hold and spoon-feed, we destroy the spirit of inquiry and independent learning. We must therefore start right and start young. A good preschool education, especially in the kindergarten years, provides a foundation for learning. Rather than schoolify preschool, we must focus on what will be relevant to teach at that stage. Education is a lifelong journey, not a sprint. Preschool should use play to stimulate the learning of languages and social-emotional skills. It should be purposeful and fun, invoke a sense of curiosity, and seed a love for learning. Similarly, the primary school years will start with active learning, incorporating many elements of play. Our program for active learning, or PAL, for P1 and P2 students, using art, music, and physical activities, and our Stellar program are significant innovations. They are enabling our students to build the right foundation in creative and enjoyable ways. Now, some parents are asking, what should be learned at kindergarten? What should a child entering primary 1 be able to do? Do primary schools stream and rank children according to their abilities? MOE will address the interface between kindergarten and early primary school years in detail when we issue guidelines on the curriculum framework for preschool by the end of the year. Our goal is clear. Help our children build a good, age-appropriate foundation, stimulate their curiosity, and develop their sense of confidence. On streaming in P1, our policy is clear. There should not be streaming or examinations at that stage. The pace of teaching should also be guided by the syllabus and not by how much the children already know. Otherwise, we will have an upward spiral where overteaching in the classrooms results in parents over-preparing their children before P1, which will in turn lead to further overteaching. If there are children who know the material ahead of what is expected, we should let them buddy others so that they can learn to empathize and share. More generally, across all levels, we will continue to help our students become engaged learners through different pedagogical approaches, such as inquiry-based and field-based learning. Outside of the classroom, they will also be engaged through the CCAs. I hope many will come to appreciate the joy of learning. The second way to ensure every learner is an engaged learner is to provide the right learning support. Learning support is particularly important for those who come from less advantaged backgrounds. The support must start early, which is why we must invest more in preschool. It must continue in our primary schools. We need to identify those who need our help early so that the child does not fall so far behind and become discouraged. Our learning support program for English language and mathematics and our school-based remediation for dyslexia are progressing well. We will build on this to help more learners and look into better ways of identifying students with other special needs and work closely with SPED schools to complement each other. In our primary schools, we now have 64 student care centres, and we hope to have an additional 20 by the end of next year. These school-based centres are providing good support. We have also strengthened support for students from low-income backgrounds by enhancing MOE's financial assistance scheme and our IHL bursaries. But more can be done. A group that we are particularly concerned with are those who are not making sufficient progress. We are reviewing how we can better support them so that even more among them can go on to post-secondary education. Third, for every student to be an engaged learner, we need to cater to their diverse interests and learning needs through multiple pathways and options with different modes of learning. To cite a few examples, for more hands-on learning, our first specialized school for normal technical students will start next year. Crest Secondary School will have a customized curriculum and partnerships with ITE. The second school will start in 2014. For NA students, the Polytechnic Foundation program will commence next year. There will also be more places in the ITE Direct Entry Scheme. More schools will also be offering the integrated program from next year. At the system-wide level, we are seeing more pathways. Our polytechnics and ITE remain the gems of our system and signal our commitment to enabling every student to succeed according to the way he or she learns best. Next year, ITE College Central will open its brand new campus in Ang Mo Kio, completing the transformation of ITE to one ITE system, 3 colleges. UniSIM and SIT will be our 5th and 6th publicly funded universities with applied and professional pathways. There will also be many more part-time courses across our system to support continuous education for adult learners. All of this provide opportunities for engaged learners throughout their lives. To see how our institutions are providing opportunity, consider Vignesh. Vignesh attended ITE College West, where he graduated with a higher NITEC in mechanical engineering. Though he did well enough to have gone to a polytechnic, he chose to take up ITE's Technical Engineer Diploma in Machine Technology and joined the Singapore firm immediately after graduation. His group MD had this to say about him. Vignesh surprised us with novel, unthought-of ideas, demonstrated immediate flexibility by showing a willingness to run shifts, and led a number of productivity improvement projects that yielded impressive results. People like Vignesh reaffirm that we are doing something right. He's seeking to develop new skills and not just going for qualifications. Employers have told us that they value people like him who may not have the best academic results but have a holistic set of skills. The most critical part and a test of every student and engaged learner is how committed a student is in developing the values and character that will enable him to succeed in life and contribute to others. Knowledge and skills can become outdated, but a mature social-emotional core, deep values, and strength of character will enable our children to continue to thrive as they grow. It is not cognitive skills alone, but character traits of grit, determination, persistence, empathy, graciousness, a sense of responsibility that will enable our kids to succeed. A strong sense of citizenship will drive them to come together to write the next chapters of the Singapore story. That is why we must sustain our efforts in CCE. As I mentioned last year, CCE is going to be the hardest subject to teach. It requires conviction. Every teacher in every school needs to take it seriously. In the past year, we worked with 8 schools to prototype different ways of delivering CCE. I'm heartened by what I've seen and heard so far, and would like to thank these 8 schools. In one school, Punggol Secondary, teachers planned lessons to enable students to put values in action in real-life situations. Students progressed through different levels in situations involving the school, the larger community, the nation, and the world. Sec 4 and 5 students mentor younger students. Because these were real situations with real people and real consequences, students learned how to see from different perspectives and make responsible decisions. Besides these 8 schools, many more have started innovative practices on their own. I visited Yuanqing Secondary School recently and was impressed by how they take a whole school approach to inculcate values and character. Once a term, the school involves all students in making decisions on a range of issues relating to their school experience. This is a structured process facilitated by student leaders. They discuss, for instance, the rules for bringing and using mobile phones and behavioral indicators for their school values. Telok Kurau Primary, for instance, uses its school mascot, Richie, the bear, to highlight and profile positive values among its students. Let's take a look.
Richie is actually an iconic representation of our school values. It embodies all of 6 core values. Values education within our school is integrated and infused across the various disciplines in the school, and we provide various contexts for students to experience values in action. Within the formalized curriculum for values education lessons, students are given the opportunity through teachers' facilitation, questioning techniques and all that to reflect upon themselves, to think through their behaviors and actions and how they can make progress. Students are also given opportunities to acknowledge and affirm their friends for good behavior through the Catch Them Doing Right initiative. And this has given students a platform to understand the importance of behaving well, to highlight students with positive characteristics. It gives them the motivation to continue to behave well and to continue to understand that how we celebrate as a school in terms of good character.
Swee Keat always settles arguments, like when I quarrel with my group about who to do the work.
I like helping people because friendship and happiness are important to me, and I can get them when I help people.
One day I'd like to be like Swee Keat. He's very friendly. I want to be like that.
My daughter has gotten some awards from the school, and this has really boosted her confidence and it made learning enjoyable.
And I can also see the transformation in her, that she has grown up to be a big elder sister, guiding the younger ones in the home and helping out with the household programs, etc. It really helps to build a strong foundation for her, to prepare her for her teenage days coming forward. And that's something that is very invaluable to us.
So I'm glad that within just a year, so many schools have made significant progress to deliver CCE, building on what you have been doing, and you're doing it in meaningful and engaging ways. No one is sitting still. I'm told that principals too have been personally observing CCE lessons, and I'm heartened by our school leaders' personal commitment. MOE is now consolidating the inputs from our schools, and the new CCE curriculum will be implemented from 2014 onwards. We'll announce details of this later. The next phase of our CCE efforts will also include parents, as they are critical partners. When I visited Temasek Secondary School, I learned that its Secondary 1 students practice home CIP. Students have to do household chores and get their parents to sign off. This is an interesting point because many parents I've met asked me, "So Minister, what has changed? I've not sensing any change. I think if you do this, all parents will know that things have changed." I also discovered that students learn empathy through circle sharing, where they bring items that are meaningful with them about their family to share with the group. One student, Jinsen, showed his school bag, which he had been using for over a year. I was surprised that it looked brand new. And in fact, the bag had been bought by his mother much earlier, but he could not bear to use it because he wanted to use his old bag until it was completely worn out. And he hoped that for his new bag, he could use it till he finished secondary school. So he explained to us that his mother had saved up money with great difficulty to buy the bag. He appreciated the mother's love, and he appreciated family circumstances. So it's wonderful to have such appreciative kids. In another session, a boy brought, by the way, that's Jinsen on the extreme right with his back. In another session, a boy brought a soft toy and shared that his soft toy was given to him by his mother, who was then very ill. She told him that it was a way for him to remember her by. Sadly, she passed away soon after. Many students cried after hearing the story. Now, through this sharing, our students learn a thing or two about love and empathy, about care for the family, and care for other people. These are deep and powerful lessons. So in the coming years, we will continue deepening the social-emotional learning of our students. The more our students learn about empathy and concern for others, the better they can appreciate not just others, but they themselves. Many adolescents in particular go through a tumultuous period in their teenage years. They are at a threshold between childhood and adulthood. And through stronger pastoral care and educational and career guidance, we can help them navigate this difficult journey and find a way forward. Let me now touch on my favorite tagline, every school a good school. Many have asked me, Minister, is this possible? Now, to reiterate, a good school is one that nurtures engaged learners, enables teachers to be caring educators, and fosters supportive partnerships with parents and the community. So indeed, it is possible, and each of our schools is good in its own way, as long as we continue to take into account the unique needs and abilities of our students. So let us build on our strengths and strive to do even better.